Cool. What's up, everybody? David Jones here with Bets by Ghost. Stix Picks. What are we laughing at? Was I delayed there?
No, just
it just went
opening
live
segment
for like 10
Cool.
seconds on my screen, and all three of us just staring at cameras like a bunch of idiots. But that was really funny.
I like the opener of cool. This is also, I wanted to let it be known, Ghost is being weird about it, but I'm calling this show the International Three-Way because we got
I instantly hit you with the pause there. You gotta it was way too early for me in the morning to get that text, man. You gotta give you some context. It's kind of like your grade 3 math teacher when they like show your work when you
That's right.
end up giving an answer. You gotta give me some background to that.
We're well spread out there. We're well spread out too. We got David down in Dixieland. I'll represent the Union up north, and then we got Ghost there in Canada with good health care. So I'm excited for this slate.
See, I already don't support this. It's always anti-Jets for me. Like Breece Hall could be over 10 rushing yards, and I don't like doing that.
Well, that's the International Three-Way free bet.
So. Okay, I guess I got to tail it now. I don't have a choice.
It's Jay behind the scenes putting up some locks, apparently.
All right, I got to tail it then.
Okay.
All right, David, get us back on the rails. I'm sorry. I'm on mute.
No, all good. All good. I don't know how I feel about the International Three-Way myself, but I guess we'll roll with it today. Maybe we'll win a lot of money. Maybe we'll lose everything. I don't know. I don't love the name. You're going to have to explain to me more what the International Three-Way is.
Well, there's three of us.
Yeah.
He's in a different country.
Well,
makes it international. It's 2024.
What about
open up your mind,
man. Sexual innuendo is what I'm not following.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just being goofy. making bad jokes on the Lord's Day. I got to clean it up.
All good, buddy. It's a good joke. I'm just not all there yet. Let's try and get there. Let's go through quarterbacks. Let's go through running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. Has anyone seen the Amari Cooper news? I've been on the road. Are we still just waiting?
We were just talking about that. That's pretty much the only thing that I'm waiting on personally. That has a lot of impact on who we're playing today. So if anybody sees that, please drop it in the comments for us. That's probably the most impactful news that we're waiting on so far.
Yeah, we've already got some impactful news that dropped, like Jordan. He is expected to play. Christian McCaffrey, apparently a full go. We'll discuss that. Maybe ownership's going to start moving towards him. I mean, make a little bit of sense. I'm probably going to get some in there as well. Y'all can talk me off there if you need to. Anyone else big that I'm not pulling up right now? Anything stand out to you guys, Nick?
I think everything that – like people that have been declared out throughout the week, like everybody knows who's out at this point. Keon Coleman's obviously out. Michael Pittman's out. Trevor Lawrence is out. I don't think there's anything like crazy noteworthy other than that in terms of like offensive players that we'd be looking at for DFS. So obviously Amari Cooper is the news we are all waiting for at this point.
Is it going to make a huge impact? You know what? Let's not even do that. Let's just wait and hopefully we get the news because we're running behind anyways. Let's go through quarterbacks first. I want to start it off with Ghost today on where he's going to land on quarterback.
Yeah, Josh Allen for me at the top is by far the most intriguing target there. I mean, it's only Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Jaden Daniels pretty much towards the top of the pricing grid. I mean, usually you got that next group of guys. Pretty rare to see Pat Mahomes being the 5th priced quarterback on a DFS slate, but that's just the state of his play this year, despite being undefeated. And I mean, right now we're looking at those top dogs. For me, it's Josh Allen in a tier of its own. You're looking at that game that could have a lot of back and forth potential as long as Joe Flacco, finds that magic from earlier in the season, or rather that magic from roughly 10 years ago, because that's how long he's been in the league. But Josh Allen on the road there with limited receiving options, especially if Amari Cooper doesn't go, Keon Coleman out, as we've already mentioned, makes it super easy to stack. We got Michael Pittman out on the other side of that game too. A lot of intriguing run back options for Josh Allen towards the top of the pricing grid. The mid range is really where I'm living on this slate. Back and forth between Brock Purdy and Baker Mayfield, especially in tournaments. For me, I see Brock Purdy being a little bit higher owned and everybody continuing to disrespect this Tampa offense. Baker's finding a way to move the football, man. Like that for me was really impressive. And not only, I know Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have both been out over the last couple of weeks in various games and such, but last game was the first full game that they've really turned it on without their 2 top dogs there. And at home, they're still fighting for the division there against your Falcons, DJ. And you know what? For me, Baker Mayfield at 6,400 is really enticing in tournaments. Similar price range there. We're going to talk about a running back or quarterback that you absolutely have to play for me. So Aaron Jones is going to be one of my favorite running backs on the slate, and we'll talk about that when we get to that position. But if you're not playing him, Sam Darnold in the passing attack has to be something that you're looking towards. And then towards the punting range of the slate, for me, it's really going to be all about $5,200 Justin Herbert on DraftKings. I mean, do I see a lot of potential in that game? I mean, I'm wondering if Tennessee could really keep pace, but at the same time, Herbert at 5,200 really does not need to do all that much, and it opens up the world for you with one of his cheap wide receivers. You could get him in either between Ladd McConkey or Quentin Johnston for roughly 10K on DraftKings, and then just load up on skill position players if you want to.
Yeah, Herbert's definitely the most stackable quarterback. Put that in the article. Let me ask you about Buffalo since you're on Josh Allen. So, like, are you just going to go the straight Shakir Kincaid route, or are you going to dig around with like a Hollins or a Samuel or anything if Amari Cooper's out?
If Amari Cooper's out, Mac Hollins becomes interesting just for pure lineup structure purposes. I see a lot of people gravitating towards Adonai Mitchell right now. I would love to play Adonai Mitchell. He was great in college, but I just can't do that just yet. Not at that ownership. Everybody knows how I feel about these $3,500 wide receivers gaining 20+% ownership. Mac Hollins would be the pivot there, right? Obviously, we'd have to get an ownership update to see if people start gravitating towards Mac Hollins if Amari Cooper does get ruled out. But yeah, he does become interesting because there's not a lot of viable value on this slate, right? A lot of people are living and dying in the mid-range, but if you want to get an Alvin Kamara, you want to get a Jonathan Taylor, you want to get Saquon, you want to get CMC or Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, you take your pick, right? Like there's a lot of firepower towards the top of the pricing grid and a lot of great matchups, but you need some value to do that. And right now, I just don't see it. If Amari Cooper does get ruled out, Mac Hollins will certainly become more viable to fix that. But for now, it's going to be all Kincaid and Shakir for me. Even if Amari Cooper does play, I'm way overweight on both Kincaid and Shakir to stack with Josh Allen.
All right, Nick, where are you going to go with quarterback?
I'm playing Josh Allen almost everywhere in tournaments. In cash, I'm playing Brock Purdy. I don't really have a ton of interest in Justin Herbert. I understand like what Go's saying with the price and everything like that. I get it. I'm not against it. I'm just not doing it this week. And I guess honorable mention in tournaments a little bit. I do really like the price for Kyler Murray. This game keeps getting bet up a little bit. There's a lot of ownership spread out through that game, and no one's playing the running quarterback of Kyler Murray. But I just think, pound for pound, Josh Allen is by far the best quarterback on this slate. Obviously, Jalen Hurts would be right there too, but Dallas is the walking wounded right now. I don't see a lot of back and forth there. I want a quarterback that can throw it 35 times and still rush for 50 yards and a touchdown, and that's Josh Allen.
Yeah, see, I kind of lean on the Jalen Hurts side. I don't think I'm going to end up paying up, but I mean, look, you've got like Josh Allen can run, Jalen Hurts can run. Jalen Hurts has a completely healthy receiving core as far as Smith and AJ Brown goes. And he's getting, the tush push whenever they get down there at the one, which is all they seem to do is just end up at the one. I know Dallas isn't going to be able to run, potentially not going to be able to keep it close. But I don't know. He's at least got the weapons active. Now, if Cooper's active, okay, flip over to Allen. But
Coop just got ruled out. Not to cut you off there, DJ, but Coop just got ruled out. So that changes things.
Okay. I mean, so I don't know. If I'm spinning up, I go with Hurts. Does Coop being ruled out do anything for you, Nick, or are you still?
Okay? Yeah, no, I'm in on Mac Hollins. I think that's my pivot off. I have no interest in playing Adonai Mitchell at like 15 to 20% ownership. So I'm trying to find a value guy. I think Sterling Shepard is kind of in that price range too that a lot of people are interested in. I'm trying to find a way to get off that. I think Mac Hollins opens that up. With Amari Cooper, this guy runs a ton of routes. I think he had a very good role going into this game just because Keon Coleman's out. Now that he is out as well, Amari that being, I think this is a great spot for Mac Hollins. He's got a lot of red zone upside. He's 3.3K. He's cheap on FanDuel too, so I like him in all formats. So I think you could play Josh with him. You could double stack him with Kincaid or Shakir if you want to do that. But yeah, that's a good break for me because I did anticipate Amari Cooper being out, and I want a different type of low-owned wide receiver that is not Adonai Mitchell or Sterling Shepard.
Khalil Shakir lock, just lock him in.
I don't love him as much. I think he's a good cash play. I wonder what his upside is here. Kenny Moore is a very good nickel cornerback. So I'd rather pick on the outside. That's kind of what we've been talking about all season long when we're going up against the Colts is the outside matchups. So I think Matt Collins is honestly in a great spot. But yeah, Khalil Shakir, I think is a safe floor. I just worry about the lack of like 15-yard plus receptions that he can have in this game because I do think the shell coverage on the inside will limit his upside.
Quick answer, Ghost. Khalil Shakir, lock, yes or no?
I'm not locking him, but I have a lot. I'll leave it at that.
I agree with what you guys are talking about with the quarterbacks. Brock Purdy going up against Tampa. I think he's a very good cash play quarterback. You've got Deebo Samuel, and I'm not sure that we mentioned that at the beginning of the show. The 49ers offense should be rolling, one would think, with Christian McCaffrey back, Deebo there. You've got Kittle, who's been playing amazing, Juwan Jennings, professional wide receiver, and now you've got what's his name? Wide receiver 3 for 49ers today, rookie. What's his name?
Ricky Purcell,
yeah, and he's kind of coming on too. So they should be rolling up against Tampa. I think Brock Purdy is in a good spot. I agree with the Herbert take. He's just too cheap. You can stack him quite easily. I agree with the Baker Mayfield take. He just keeps getting it done. Him throwing it like the entire second half would not be surprising to me. He will just find the open wide receiver. Will they catch it? I don't know. Will the ball be coming towards him? It sure will. And he'll also be incorporating these running backs. You've got White, who's essentially a wide receiver now if you just look at the past 2 games, and then Bucky Irving can catch it too. So Baker Mayfield, going to throw it a lot. No one ever wants to play the dude, and he always has a good game. So I don't care what the matchup is, and I'm really not that scared of the 49ers defense, quite frankly. Caleb Williams. Okay, I feel like you might hate him, Nick.
Dude, what the fuck happened last week? Sorry for my language, but like my whole breakdown is Arizona cannot pressure the quarterback. I literally think they set an NFL record for the season in quarterback pressures last week, and the Bears are down. I think Nate Davis is out now too. Like everybody on that offensive line is out. I loved him going into the week if they were going to be healthy because I was like, all right, I will go back. He let us down a ton. New England's kind of a doormat right now in terms of defense. Kyle Duggar's out too. That hurts them, but it's going to be like 25, 30 mile an hour winds in Chicago. I think the stadium kind of limits that a little bit, but it is gross out there. I'm a hard pass on all things Caleb Williams, but I love his price. I love Rome Odunze's price. If this game was in a dome, I would play the shit out of it and run it back with like Ramondre Stevenson and Hunter Henry and just get studs elsewhere. But the weather and the offensive line issues for the Bears, like maybe all these guys being out helps them because they weren't playing worth a shit anyway. So maybe the second and third string offensive line is better than the starters. I don't know. It can't get much worse, but the weather, I guess short answer is what got me off of him.
Okay, that's I didn't realize about the ones there in Chicago. They'll probably get me off of them too. Last guy I'm going to, or let's do a little pick one of these 2 guys, Cooper Rush or Mac Jones, or you can say absolutely none. Ghost.
If I absolutely have to, it'd be Cooper Rush. I'm not playing either one of them. I'd rather enter a lineup with no quarterback than play Mac Jones.
Oh my God, Nick, Cooper Rush or Mac Jones or none?
Neither. It is going to be rainy in Jacksonville, confirmed by our boy Roth as of this morning. I think Roto World's saying that we may see some Trey Lance today too. I wish they would have announced Trey Lance as a starter because I feel like at min price he would have been like 20% owned because people still believe in him. But yeah, I guess if I had to choose, it'd be Cooper Rush just because you still got CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, and Cooper Rush isn't a bad quarterback.
He's not.
So Cooper Rush, but I prefer neither.
Slow-moving line of moderate rainfall will gradually be creeping towards Jacksonville during the game via Kevin Roth, with models showing it arriving towards the end of the game. Ahead of the line, we could see some spotty showers. So he will say off and on light rain with a chance of heavier rain late. Winds are at least worth mentioning. 10 to 15 mile per hour doesn't mean anything. So there's your weather update. I think Cooper Rush is okay, but he's priced only $100 less than Justin Herbert. I would just play Justin Herbert. We've got to move on to running backs. We're going to start with Ghost here. Sounds like you've got some sombrero love for Aaron Jones. If you want to start there, go for it. Give me a 2 or 3 guys, then we'll move over to Nick and try and hash it all out.
Yeah, Aaron Jones is going to be my lock in all formats today. Whether it be cash, tournaments, anything of the sort. I saw somebody did post a question for running back under 8K on FanDuel. He also fits the bill there at 7,900. So Jacksonville ranked 31st in adjusted DVOA against the run. They cannot stop explosive runs. The weather concerns, looking at, we can't predict game scripts, but if we try to predict this game script, we're likely seeing a Minnesota route in this one. It's just, the upside is just way too big for me to not play Aaron Jones in this matchup. That's all the reasoning that I could give you. I mean, there's a million stats to back it up, but really it's all about Aaron Jones for me today at 6,700. But towards the top of the pricing grid, look, Saquon continues to have an absolutely ridiculous season. If you want to play him, I'll never talk anybody off of Saquon. Pretty much as close to it gets as matchup proof the way that he's playing. And that Philly offense, hopefully they start letting Kellen Moore start calling plays, but I think they could put up 35 points a game if he absolutely took over that play calling, but that's yet to be seen. Alvin Kamara is going to be your cash game guy, probably the safest floor on the entire slate when you put aside price. I'm not playing him in tournaments. If it bites me, it bites me, but I have roughly 5 times the field of Christian McCaffrey this week. So I'm seeing 10% CMAC right now. I bumped it up to 50 for me. You're getting, like, has there been a more dominant non-quarterback player in the fantasy football space over the last 5x amount of years other than Christian McCaffrey? You're getting him at 8K. If he wasn't a full go, I get it. Their season is, I don't want to say it's on the line, but it's quickly taking a turn. Like, they have a tough schedule coming up. And I assume the plan was for him to just come back in playoffs and they start routing people on their way to another Super Bowl appearance. They got to start winning some games, man. And CMC getting in the box today is like all but as close to a lock as it gets. I mean, I can't remember the last time this guy played a game and didn't get a touchdown. Catches plenty of footballs. Debo's injury is up there. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see George Kittle end up playing vintage George Kittle here and just end up blocking a bit more and playing like a traditional tight end and, getting CMAC and running through the tackles, their number one red zone target. 8K Christian McCaffrey for me is absolutely ridiculous to not play that. So I'll be getting 50% CMAC in tournaments. I'll let you guys touch on Jonathan Taylor. I am on Jonathan Taylor, but I want to steal all the thunder there. The mid-range for me, look, if you want to play DeAndre Swift and Ramondre Stevenson in what could be a weather game, I mean, I get it. For me, it's not something that I'm gravitating towards just because I'd rather play Rachaad White. 5,900 on DK and 6,400 on FanDuel. Talked about Baker Mayfield stacks. He will absolutely be one of my quarterbacks in 3-max style contests. So if I had 3 bullets in the chamber, Baker Mayfield's absolutely taking one of them for me. Rachaad White operating as wide receiver 1A, 1B type role for that team right now with both Godwin and Evans out. The pass catching upside is just way too big there. He will get the bulk of the red zone touches as well ahead of Bucky. So for me, it's really towards the top of the pricing grid and towards the bottom, not really playing much mid-range. If I had to pick 2 guys, it would be the back and forth between DeAndre Swift and Ramondre Stevenson.
Interesting call with White. I had him last week, wrote him up last week. I think I wrote him up the week before. He keeps getting in the end zone. It was discouraging, the rushing attempts. Like, that's what I'm worried about, is taking up a running back spot with the, when he's not getting a lot of rushing attempts, but of course he's going to be acting as a wide receiver. So maybe throw him in the flex, or it just doesn't matter to you because he's points.
I think for me, the main thought process that I had there was that I'm stacking Tampa Bay because I want my quarterback to be playing from behind. I want the quarterback throwing the ball 45 times. And in that game script, it fits perfectly for Christian McCaffrey getting X amount of carries, whether that number is 15, whether it's 20, whether it's 25, whether it's 30 touches today. We don't have a crystal ball, right? Like, they're saying he's a full go.
We have a quote.
We have a quote, and that's all we're basing off of, right? Like, That's what it is. So for me, if I'm playing Baker, I'm assuming that Baker's throwing the ball 35, 40, 45 times. That fits perfectly for me with Rachaad White. I don't want Bucky Evans rushing attempts. I want Christian McCaffrey running the football at my run back to my stack with Baker throwing the football to Rachaad White. 6, 7, 8 targets there for Rachaad White, and the PPR upside is absolutely huge. And when they do get in the red zone, when they run it, Rachaad White's going to be that guy anyways. So for me, that's really the thought process behind playing Rachaad White today.
The quote I saw on was he was going to touch the ball 20 times. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but that's what I saw. Nick, running back, let's do it.
Hard to go against anything Ghost saying. I know he mentioned Christian McCaffrey. He doesn't remember last time Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown. I don't remember last time Christian McCaffrey played. I'm going to fade it. But I get it. It's a bold take, Ghost. I think it's a great tournament play. Everybody's playing Brock Purdy. Makes a ton of sense. Clear leverage there. I get it. I'm not paying up for Saquon Barkley. I wish I could. Like, that is someone that I would make a priority play for me, but I do think that game gets out of hand. I have no interest at all, cash or tournaments, in Alvin Kamara. I'm with you on a fade there. I'm okay with Breece Hall. Jonathan Taylor, I like a ton. James Cook's one of my favorite plays. I think that's someone that you could stack with Josh Allen. I have nothing bad to say about Aaron Jones. I think the pricing is terrible. He should be $7,500 in this matchup, and he is not. I really like these lower mid-tier guys like James Conner. I think a guy that's getting 22 touches a football game and getting 3 receptions. Like, he gets a lot of PPR fantasy points. My issue with James Conner is there's just no breakaway speed at all. But this game, I do think this is a game that goes back and forth. It's a very tight spread. It's got a pretty decent total. I like James Conner a ton. I really like Ramondre Stevenson. I know DJ wrote him up too, so I'll let him talk about that. Do we like Najee Harris at all? It's 6,200.
I think it's just more of a price play.
Yeah.
It's where you land on Najee. I don't like him, but if he kind of fits, he fits. But I would prefer getting to like Connor. I'd prefer getting to Stevenson in that weather game. Aaron Jones, of course. Najee, not particularly. Ghost, do you like Najee?
I'm off Najee today, but I mean, it's really more like this guy can't hurt me at this price. That's why I would be okay with Najee. Am I going out of my way to go and click his name? No. But if that's the guy that fits your lineup over Rachaad White because you have the extra $300-400, I'm not opposed to that. For me, it's Rachaad White over everybody in that plus or minus $200-300 range there.
I fear the guy I don't have enough of is Bijan.
I don't know. I mean,
Kirk Cousins in a dome in a non-primetime game. If anything, that passing attack might do damage.
There's just no one for the Saints. That's why I'm not playing Alvin Kamara. I think Tim wrote a question here, like, why no Kamara? I'm not paying $8,100 for a guy that I think that, like, all Atlanta needs to do is stack the box and say Alvin's not going to beat us. Keep an eye on Taysom. Other than that, like, their best wide receiver. I think they activated A.T. Perry, who was on – they cut earlier, went to maybe Denver's practice squad, and that would make sense with Sean Payton, and now he's back. And then Mason dude – I don't know. I'm not.
It's bad on the outside. It's bad, and then
on
top of that, you got Carr under center. Like, it's not like they have a game-changing quarterback there under center. Like, look, I'm playing Kamara in cash. I saw the question was really about no Kamara in cash. I'm fine with it in cash. It's just, for me, it's 20 touch Christian McCaffrey at the exact same price or $100 less than Alvin Kamara. For me, that's where it'll make or break my slate. I got 50% CMAC in a 150 style lineup structure and very little to zero Alvin Kamara. That's my take this week, is that CMC in tournaments over Alvin Kamara is what gets it done.
That's fair. Yeah, Bijan's a guy I'm afraid of fading, but I guess my top plays would probably be Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, James Conner, Stevenson.
When if the Falcons are up a couple touchdowns, I mean, it really doesn't even matter. Like, Bijan's not going to go out there and run the ball 24 times. Like, we know that. That's a high number. It's a high average. I shouldn't even be giving it because it's never going to happen. But Tyler Algier is more than capable of going out there and, just planting the flag too and getting in the end zone. He probably does. I mean, that's what always holds Bijan back. Like, he's not going to go for 35. Like, if you don't have Bijan, I guess you could consider Algier, but with the value at running back tonight, you don't have to. I did put him in the article as like a million maker type guy because I think he does score, but I don't think he goes and breaks 100 yards. The Falcons should handle the shit out of the Saints today. I know it's a division matchup, whatever, but the Saints are terrible. I know their coach just got fired, but the Saints are terrible. They have no wide receivers. They tried to kill Chris Olave last week, and I loved your tweet. I was laughing about that.
Dude, what the hell was he doing? Like, he gets just happy feet. He's getting blitzed. I was like, here, Chris Olave, here's a ball in triple coverage that you don't see coming right across the middle. And he's going to try to make a play because he's a great wide receiver. It's just Derek Carr killed him. And
6 concussions on the career now compared to Tua's 4.
I'm done playing him. I can't ever play him again. I just feel like all these guys with multiple concussions are. That's kind of how I feel about Debo when we get to wide receivers. I feel like every time I play Debo, he comes up limping with a hammy issue or something and ruins my slate. So also fading him.
Jonathan Taylor, I'm into for the Colts. I made a pretty good case about it on SiriusXM last night, I thought. So you've got Flacco, who's come back down to earth a little bit. You're going to be missing Pittman, sure. What you want to do when you play the Bills is definitely keep Josh Allen off the field. So how do you do that? Is you try and establish the run with Jonathan Taylor, who could go out there and certainly touch the ball 20 times, especially if Flacco's struggling, if Downs maybe isn't having a great game. You got the Bills give up the second most fantasy points to running backs. Second most fantasy points to running backs. That's just behind the Carolina Panthers. They've had a tough time stopping touchdowns, whether it's going to be from receiving or rushing. I mean, rushing, they've only allowed 5. Okay, but they got kind of chewed up through the air a little bit with, 4 receiving touchdowns, I want to say, which is tied for the league worst against running backs. So 9 total, right? It's not good. Jonathan Taylor is good. Let him run the ball up against the Bills. I think it's a pretty good spot for him. So I like Jonathan Taylor. I think he could be a dude that breaks the slate. Like, I'd probably play him over Kamara at this point. It's scared to play him over Barkley, but I would, I guess. CMC, though, I don't know. You made a great case for CMC, so that one's a lot tougher for me, Ghost.
The one and only concern I had about AT, on paper, they should really #establish it in this game. Like, they got to keep Josh Allen off the field, but at the same time, my concern is that Buffalo goes up a quick 14-0, 14-3, and then all of a sudden JT's not getting as much work as we want to. That was the one and only, like, you have this one burning thought in the back of your brain saying, like, what is stopping me from getting close to, if not 100%, Jonathan Taylor? And that was the one and only thing for me, was that if Buffalo goes up quick in this game, are they going to just abandon the run? But I don't think they would, because they have Joe Flacco back there, with all due respect. That's just what it is. They should continue running the football.
I think the Colts win the game. That's where I'm going with that upset alert.
I hope so. I hope it's up pace then. I hope they don't just
because I have so much of that game. I have a lot of back and forth. Whether it be with Josh Allen or, like, at the bare minimum, I don't know if I have many lineups without at least a 1-1 on both sides of the football there. Like, we're going to talk about wide receivers in a bit, but, like, whether it be Downs and Shakir, Kincaid, Alec Pierce, Adonai Mitchell, Matt Collins, like, there's James Cook. There's a lot of back and forth potential in this game. So yeah, I have a lot of Josh Allen, but at the same time, I don't know if I have much without at least one piece on each side of that football. So I would love for a very up-paced matchup there.
Other running backs rounding it out. Y'all brought up Ramondre Stevenson. Like, I love him, but I like him, and it's starting to feel I don't know if sneaky is even the right word. When I looked at it last night, like, he wasn't highly owned. But going up against the Bears, they've really had trouble stopping the run lately, like the past month or so, aside from a Jaguars team who doesn't even know who their starting running back is. And I don't know, he just seems to keep getting it done. I mean, the weather plays to him a little bit. He's been playing well with May. May's been getting him involved in the pass game as well. He hasn't had the fumble issues, I don't think, recently, or at least the fantasy scores aren't indicating it. I don't actually know, because I don't watch a lot of Patriots football. No one does anymore. But Ramondre Stevenson, the price makes sense. I'm with you on James Conner. You do make a good point about James Conner does not have the breakaway speed, but the dude keeps stacking up 100-yard games, 3 in the last 2, going up Jets D. That is not, they're not good at stopping the run. Like, I don't know, people keep thinking this defense is good. The defense is not good. 24th in DVOA via FTN stats against stopping the run.
CJ Mosley out too, who's a good run stopper.
That's good. That's good to know too. And I mean, in 2 of these last games where he's done, had a good game running the ball. One was against the Chargers. They're fantastic. And the Bears, they've been, lacking a little bit. We've already talked about that. But Connor's fine. Better than fine. I like James Conner. Let's go on to wide receivers. 23 minutes left. We got the wide receiver news that we needed. Cooper out, London in, Debo in. Let's start with Justin Jefferson. So Ghost is playing, Aaron Jones. So does that mean that you're off of Justin Jefferson? And once you make your case for being on or off, I'm going to throw it to Nick, our resident Justin Jefferson guy.
I think for me, it was, like, I alluded to it earlier in the show when I was saying you either have to play this running back or you have to play this quarterback and this wide receiver pair, because one of them will win someone $1 million today, in my opinion. Whether it be Aaron Jones or Sam Darnold at 6,200 with Justin Jefferson. I can't really see a lot of people paying up towards the top of the pricing grade for wide receiver today with the interest in Saquon, Kamara. CMC is still, he's not chalk. He's only 10%. And for CMC, that's probably an all-time career low for him. But again, people are still hovering around 10%. It's not like he's 1% rostered. Got James Cook in a good matchup. We talked about these other mid-range running backs. I can't really see, with the lack of value today, a lot of people paying up for Justin Jefferson. And you guys know, like, especially we love narratives, DJ. We always text each other those pictures, whether it be college, whether it be wherever guys are coming from, this and that. It's after seeing what his boy Jamar Chase just did on Thursday night, give me one reason why Justin Jefferson doesn't want to go out there and get 300 yards and 3 touchdowns today. Like, whether this game is a route or not. Like, it's just, it would be so Justin Jefferson to go and do that. Like, I think Jamar Chase finished with 264 yards or something. I think he just wants to go in and get 265. Like, that's the type of relationship those two guys have. So it's just, you want to have a little fun with it. Even if it's like a 25-cent contest for anybody listening out there, I don't know, whatever you guys are playing, anything like that. I would make at least one lineup with Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson, whether it be the weather concerns or anything like that, whatever reason you give yourself. I'm playing more Aaron Jones than Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. But if there is one wide receiver that I'm paying up for today, it's nobody else other than JJ.
Justin Jefferson, the guy who wanted one more penny than Jamar Chase on his contract extension. Just throwing that out there.
Allegedly. Tell me he doesn't want to get one more yard than Jamar Chase.
Oh, I know.
It's so just like that. That's just the relationship those three guys have when you include Burrow in it. Like, they're constantly talking to each other, and it's just see it in their media availability, everything like that. Like, it's just, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. He's the highest price skill position player on the entire slate. I think a lot of guys are just going to plug in Alvin Kamara based on ownership right now, and that's it. But you can't play a lot of top price wide receivers with all the interest in these top price running backs. A lot of people playing Breece Hall. A lot of people, not many people as much as Breece Hall, but Jonathan Taylor gaining traction now too. It's just everyone's paying up for running back, right? Like, that's what they're seeing in the game logs. They're saying, okay, we're at week 10 now, and running back keeps, being in the position to provide everybody with a lot of winnings and like that. So people are just following the leader. That's what it is. Everyone's going to pay up for running back today. It's still a PPR format on DraftKings. For me, Justin Jefferson is a guy that can certainly break the slate.
Nick, go nuts.
What's the ownership you're seeing on Debo? I refreshed and I see sub 5. Is that accurate?
I think the last run I had, it was like 6 point something.
Oh, God damn. All right. Well, yeah, Justin Jefferson, I'll never talk you off him. I doubt there's back and forth in this game, so I'm not going to pay a premium price for him. I'll probably start my conversation with one of the Jets guys, Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams. I think you play either one of them. Again, this is a game I'm very interested in. If Deebo Samuel is under 5%, maybe I will go there now. Son of a bitch, I thought I'd be 100% off of it. Doesn't seem like that'll be the case. I don't know what you do with the Falcons, guys. They couldn't be in a better spot. But again, you got to ask yourself, is there back and forth in this game for a ceiling type of game? Otherwise, you're asking for, 5 catches, 70 yards, and hopefully they get in the box twice to make a good GPP value there. There's one guy I like a ton. Back to the same game. No one's going to play him. Marvin Harrison Jr. destroys man coverage. That is what the Jets are going to show. He's only 6,400. I have been dead wrong on a lot of receivers most of this season, but Marvin Harrison Jr. seems to be, whether I'm on him or off him, seems to be a guy that I have a very good read for. If this game does go up pace, Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably my favorite play in the 6K range. He's right there with Josh Downs in terms of price. Josh Downs is going to be 40% owned. I have no interest in Josh Downs in tournaments. I think he's fine for cash. Josh Downs, I think, moves outside with Michael Pittman. I think Adonai Mitchell, based on the routes that Adonai's run this year, when he was actually getting snaps early on when Pittman was out, Adonai went in. So I think Josh Downs, when Josh Downs was out. But I think Josh Downs is the X today, and that hurts his value, in my opinion. This is the highest we've seen his price. So I'm going to be off that, and I would rather just go to Marvin Harrison Jr. in a game that I think has the same amount of back and forth ability, if not more. 6,400 for Marvin Harrison Jr. That's probably my GPP play of the week. Just is it going to be like 1 to 2% owned? His receiving props are gross at 3.5 catches on FanDuel is -114. I'm laddering that up to 6+ catches, so I really do like him. As long as the Jets can score like we think they will, like the DFS community thinks they will, like Vegas thinks they will, with a decent 24-point implied team total, I like him a ton. I already gave my thoughts on Shakir. A couple guys in the 5K range that I like, just because I feel like my lineups need it. I don't hate Calvin Ridley, no Christian Fulton for the Chargers, but you're also getting Will Levis when you play Calvin Ridley, so walking on eggshells there. Don't hate Cortland Sutton, 5,600. DFS just doesn't want to raise his price. I'm cool with that. And then going down, I asked Ghost about him early. Quentin Johnston seems to be priced very, very, very low. He's got a 3.5 catch prop. I think I have him for 3.4 catches and damn near 50 yards. If you're playing tournaments, like all these guys in this price range, like Ricky Pearsall, sure, I'd rather wait and see what we get out of Ricky Pearsall with a healthy San Francisco 49ers receiving core, obviously outside of Brandon Ayuk. So I'm not going to play Pearsall. Quentin Johnston has, 100+ and 2 touchdown upside every single time he steps on the field. There's no L'Jarius Sneed for the Titans. Like, the deep ball can certainly be there. I don't hate it because I'm looking at my lineups, and a lot of it is this 5,100 and below range because I'm probably playing Kincaid at flex and using Kittle at tight end. So I look at Kincaid as a wide receiver, but it's like maybe I should just go to a 0% owned Quentin Johnston who could destroy the slate. And then my value is going to be Matt Collins. I'm not playing AD Mitchell. I get it. I'm not going to talk you off AD Mitchell, but I'm not playing a 3K wide receiver at 15 to 20% ownership.
Hey, I don't know, man. That works sometimes. Like,
I know it does, but I'm an ownership whore too. Like, if there's one, like, that is my downside of DFS, is like I just feel like I have to get different for the fucking sake of being different. And I'll sleep at night knowing that I faded a chalky AD Mitchell, who we've never seen get more than like 50% snap share. I don't know if we even will today. Like, Ashton Dolan's not dead. And they use 4 tight ends. Like, I don't know. And like Ghost said, like, this could be Jonathan Taylor getting 30 touches. So I don't know. I'm out.
Okay. So you're thinking that when Mitchell's on the field, that Downs is going to be on the outside.
I do. That is what the 80 mile projects. That is what I'm projecting by hand as well. Just kind of what we've seen so far this season, but it's a very weird sample. Like, that's 100% me just guessing.
It's a weird
educating guess, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so like what I'm looking at right now, when Mitchell's been on the field, he has a pretty even split of slot right left. And when Downs has been on, given that's more with Pittman, I mean, Downs is in the slot like 85% of the time. So I can see them moving Mitchell in for like a third of his snaps out there, but they're still willing to use him on the outside. And if Downs is exploiting the slot, which is the best place to go up against Buffalo, if you're just going by like yards per route covered, the slot matchup is the best. Therefore, Downs and Mitchell will be in the better spot. When you start looking at like the like air yards and target share and downfield threats for Joe Flacco,
we lost him.
We lost. I was about to ask him about Alec Pierce. Oh, he's gone.
Dave.
I was about to ask him about Alec Pierce trying to throw a wrench into his plans. But...
Is he still frozen? Still frozen. All right. Well, I don't mind Alec Pierce. I think that when Quentin Johnston's right there, 4,900, I'd rather have him over Alec Pierce.
Yeah, it's just, again, I don't want to say we're playing a guessing game. We do have a bid to go off of. It's just not a large enough sample size, right, to really say who's going to run out of the slot. And at the end of the day, AD Mitchell can still go up and get those jump balls, right? Like, this is a big dude. I get it. He's a rookie, but he can go up and get those jump balls on the outside more so than Josh Downs and Alec Pierce. So that was my main reason behind thinking AD Mitchell would be on the outside more so than in the slot. We just haven't seen enough of him to say, yeah, he'll for sure be in the slot. But whoever does get that slot matchup is going to be the benefactor for sure against Buffalo.
Yeah, we'll get DJ back here as he's resetting. Any other wide receivers you want to touch base on? Like Sterling Shepard, 4,100. The game script should be favorable for a lot of receptions. He is separating. He looks decent.
Yeah, the separation is definitely a lot better than his Giants days. I'll never quit Jalen McMillan. But yeah, you could. It's just more of a personal thing. I'm not telling you guys to go out and play Jalen McMillan. It's just one of my boys. But at the same time, Shepard's there, and my bigger stacks, it works kind of well. it's pretty funny because you could end up stacking Baker without a wide receiver. You could go Kate Otten and Rashad White and not force a wide receiver in there, and it would be just as viable. But Sterling Shepard for sure worthy of consideration, considering there's a lack of value today. Like I was saying just before DJ hopped back in, I can't quit Jalen McMillan. I'm not telling you guys to go out and play him. It's just more of a personal thing. I know DJ is going to talk a little bit about the Falcons. I do have interest in Darnell Mooney there towards the upper tier of the mid-range. And if I'm playing a San Fran wide receiver thing, because I heard a lot of Ricky Purcell talk, I'm hearing Debo. Everybody knows I'm playing Christian McCaffrey. In my Purdy stacks, I went Purdy with CMC and Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings is going to be my sub 5% million maker wide receiver. In terms of that mid-range that's there, he's got the big playability. And in the event that Baker and this offense does end up making this an interesting game, Juwan Jennings will see the snaps there. Debo's still banged up. They're going to need Kittle to block every so now and then, as he always does. Juwan Jennings at 5,100, you can't really exclude him from the likes of these other wide receivers that are in that tier. I mean, we're talking about guys like Quentin Johnson and Alec Pierce in the same range. You can't disrespect Juwan Jennings by not throwing him in there. And I just saw Jalen McMillan's out as my phone buzzed. So yeah, Sterling Shepard, if I had to pick one of them, it would have to be Shep. Definitely separating better, like you said, Stix, than his Giants days. But I like stacking Baker without a wide receiver today. Sounds crazy, but Baker, Rashad White, and Kate Otten definitely makes things interesting.
David, Ghost, what are we doing with DeAndre Hopkins?
Fade him.
Love it. All right.
I'm playing him in cash.
Yep,
yeah, I'm playing him in cash because he could go for 4 catches and catch 3 touchdowns. It is still Patrick Mahomes. I don't really care how he's playing this year and this and that. It's still Pat Mahomes. You got to play him in cash because it's not like it's not 7K DeAndre Hopkins when he was with the Texans. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I could just go elsewhere in that 7K range. Like, you're getting, like, are you really going to play any of these mid-range price guys over DeAndre Hopkins? I highly doubt it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really, like, in cash, you can't afford to take that risk. In tournaments, I'm not playing DeAndre Hopkins whatsoever. I just don't see it. If you are playing DeAndre Hopkins in tournaments, I'm not going to talk you off of it, but I would absolutely force in Cortland Sutton there because you need a back and forth going. For DeAndre Hopkins to have a ceiling game, somebody on Denver's got to be generating some kind of offense, and it's far from the best matchup on paper for Cortland Sutton, but the double-digit targets are there. Bo Nix is coming into his own as he's getting familiar with the league, but I just don't see it for DeAndre Hopkins in tournaments this week. But if you do, I would absolutely force in Cortland Sutton.
Okay, a few things for me here. You're seeing Jalen McMillan out?
That is
I just like that. That's why I don't know if you guys saw. I was like kind of peeking towards my phone. I'm seeing one guy saying in, one guy saying out. So I don't know what's going on the sideline there in Tampa. But if everyone's got boots on the ground in Tampa,
let's clean it up. Yeah, let's get a good report.
Yeah,
out there.
let's get some good reporting here going because I'm literally refreshing. I just typed in McMillan. And I'm seeing back-to-back tweets within 2 minutes of one another saying one guy saying he's in, one guy saying he's out. So if somebody could clean that up, that would be great. I would love for him to be in because I will always play Jalen McMillan, especially with their wide receiver situation. I'm not going to advise you guys to go absolutely nuts on Jalen McMillan. There's a chance that he puts up near a 0, but at the same time, he's going to be out there for close to, if not 100% of the snaps today, as long as he's healthy, if he plays. And the targets will be there for him. I mean, he's by far the most talented wide receiver on the roster right now.
Bucks wide receiver Jalen McMillan is good to go today versus the 49ers per source. Was questionable with hamstring. That's from Jeremy Fowler. But that's an hour.
We got boots on. Yeah, and then I just saw one recently saying that he was out, but I don't see. I've seen more of them saying that he was in.
Yeah.
So
okay.
He should be good to go. I'm playing him in tournaments at price point, stacking. Like we've been talking about stacking Baker for a long time. Like if I am stacking Baker with a wide receiver, I have a lot of Baker stacked without a wide receiver at all because it's not even necessary. You could just go Kate Otten and Rashad White. But if I am choosing a wide receiver, it's going to be McMillan over Shep. But that's just what it is.
Hey, shout out to Julian Turner in the comments correcting me. I was wrong about that. I was talking about Justin Jefferson wanting one more penny than Jamar Chase. It was the other way around. Jamar Chase wanting.
Yeah, it was the other. Yeah, because JJ already signed his deal.
Whoops. Good correction. How much of my Colts talk did I get out before I froze? Because I was going hard, and then I looked up and no one was there.
We stopped at 80 Mitchell.
Yeah, we thought you were getting towards Alec Pierce talk, and I think the internet guy just said that should stop right then and there. Is that what was going to happen?
No, no. I was just talking about it when you're looking at the perimeter, the deep threats, the air targets for both outside wide receivers. Given that that's not Downs, I think Downs plays plenty of slot today. I still like him. We got to keep moving though. I don't know what you guys were talking about when I was out. Did y'all hit on the Jets wide receivers?
We like them both. Don't know how to tell which one's which, but I think you just
flip
play
a
whatever
coin or duplicate your lineup and just put 1 and 1.
Do we like Cortland Sutton, guys? Last question for you.
I'm in on Cortland Sutton. I think the game script's going to be there. It's by far not a great matchup for him, but the game script is there. Last time I checked, Vegas had this one as a touchdown spread. I'll just refresh. Pretty sure it's a touchdown spread there, favoring the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Yeah, 7.5 now. The number actually moved up half a point. So Bonus gonna have to throw the football, double-digit targets constantly. It's just the matchup is really gross. That's just what it is. But at the same time, talking about these mid-range wide receivers is not a ton to love. I'll take volume of Cortland Sutton all day.
You think the Broncos have a chance? I thought the Broncos had, but
I think everybody's got a chance against KC. They're really not blowing anybody out.
I think there's I like the 7.5 number in terms of covering. Do they have a chance to win at Arrowhead?
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'll say yes, but like probably not. I think they can cover 7.5 though.
Hey, here's a weird guy. I really shouldn't come back in with this, but Kendrick Bourne. What do you think, Nick? Kendrick Bourne?
Dude, I lost so much money
go to
on
Kendrick Bourne.
Kayshon Boutte last week. It needed one, and I know Tony was on him too on the over 2.5 catches. Like, son of a bitch. No thoughts on Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be raining or whatever there, or it's windy for AB. We might need to wait another week. 49ers guys, it sounded like y'all were talking about them too. Quentin Johnson, in on him. I think we got all the guys. I mean, I was out for a lot of that segment, but we need to move on to tight ends. So let's move on to tight ends. A lot of tight ends to consider. Cade Otton, right up there up top for me again. 20 DK points 3 weeks in a row. Baker's just going to sling it to him. I know they're going to try and stop Cade Otton, but I don't think it matters if he's going to go out there and get 12 targets. Price is still too low for him. I like Cade Otton. You should not be fading Cade Otton the past, and you probably shouldn't do it again today. I know that probably hurts you a little bit, Nick, to hear that. I don't think you've been playing much Cade Otton, but you're a whore, like you said.
Not going to start today either. Hand up. I'm not playing him today either.
Dalton Kincaid, he's going to be in the mix with no Amari Cooper for sure. I know he's not had a great season, but he is a tight end. He'll get some of those slot snaps, and I think he's going to be the second highest targeted guy. Potentially, you think he could be the highest targeted Buffalo Bill today, Ghost?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Like that. All right, those are the 2 top guys that I have. There's 4 more on the list for me, but maybe you guys are going to talk about them. So where are you going? Nick.
I love Dalton Kincaid. George Kittle's ownership's going through the fucking roof now. I think I want to go towards Debo instead of Kittle. I think Ghost is onto something there with the run blocking and potentially even pass blocking personnel that we'll see with George Kittle out there, but he's been the best fantasy tight end all season long. If you're on him, don't change right now just because of ownership. I've already said, hand up, I'm an ownership whore. Dude, Cade Otton 5,500. I'm sorry, fuck that, guys. Dalton Kincaid, I think, is just priority for me. I want Dalton Kincaid.
Okay. I mean,
Hunter Henry, I guess Hunter Henry at 3,900, you could do worse than that. He's got 4.5 catch prop, mid 40 yardage. It is windy. You could beat the Bears in the inside of the field. Instead of Kendrick Bourne, probably, I'd go to Hunter Henry.
Yeah, I would do that too. I don't know. Bourne's my dude. He's won me a lot of money. Ghost, where are you at on tight end? Got any weird ones, or are we just playing these chalk great plays that you showed?
And I wish I could say I got weird ones, especially when it comes to this position. It's always by far the best to get funky with it. But keeping it simple today, on Kincaid are 80 to 85% of my exposure at the position. And I think Philly brings the heat and forces Cooper Rush to make plays. Dallas has virtually no run game, as much as I've talked up Rico Dowdle, who actually won me a ton of money last week. It was amazing to see nobody play Rico Dowdle.
That was a psycho call, and that was good.
That was good stuff, that made me so much money last week. But this is not the Rico Dowdle week. If you missed the boat, I apologize. We'll come back to it eventually. At least I hope, even though Dak might be out for the season. But I think Ferg might have a game here. Cooper Rush gonna have to get rid of that football a ton, and he's going to have to get rid of it early and often. I think Philly absolutely brings the heat because there's no need to stack the box against far from exited his prime Zeke Elliott, and Rico Dowdle just simply will not get 25 carries in this one. As much as they'll try and keep Philly's offense off the field, they won't be able to. And Philly brings the heat in this one. Ferg, little dump offs. I think there's a lot of PPR upside there on DraftKings. Even if he goes like 5 for 50 or 6 for 50 type, you could do a lot worse at the position there. So if he gets in the box, he can absolutely surprise people in the tight end fantasy scoring leaderboards today. So he'll be my third one, but it's a whole lot of Auden and Kincaid for me today. It's really not getting cute with it.
Nick, are you back on Kyle Pitts today?
No, I think I'd rather have back and forth ability in that game, but a tournament place, like something is going to happen in DFS where an Atlanta Falcon is in the Millie Maker lineup. I couldn't tell you who it is going to be, but Mooney, Bijan, London, Kyle Pitts, one of those guys, if not maybe a stack, is going to go off, and I'm not going to have any of it, and I fear that dearly.
Bring kickers back. Let's put Young Hoku up in there. Remember those days? Kicker days?
Those are dark times.
Yeah, they are.
There's only one other tight end, because I saw someone ask for a tight end under 6K on FanDuel specifically, and I even came into the show today saying that like we'll talk about the night game a little bit, just because it'll never be on the DraftKings main slate, but it is now always on the FanDuel main slate. Okay. And that game goes completely overlooked every single week. Like it's been at least 6 or 7 weeks in a row now that I'm playing even more and more on FanDuel, just see what it's like over there. The pricing's really soft, and there's always exposure to the main slate because people build on DraftKings and they just go over and say, let me just try and replicate this on FanDuel. And nobody ever plays the night game. The best game of the slate might be Detroit and Houston there. Like that can absolutely be Baltimore and Cincy 2.0, where this game goes off for 70 points. Stroud is potentially, or at least it's looking like, getting Nico Collins back. Tank Dell's on the right side of questionable in that one. Jared Goff is getting Jameson Williams back off a 2-game suspension. Sam Laporta at 5,800 for an under 6K tight end on FanDuel. Pricing simply criminal, man. Like that for me is I rather just find the $400 or $600 or however much you have left over in your lineup to get Keen on. Sam Laporta is only 5,800 on FanDuel, man. Laporta is only 5,800 on FanDuel. So I rather just find if you're right up at the max pricing, you need $600 to get a Kate on. It's really not that much. Punt defense even more if you can to just get a Kate on at 6,400. But if you're in love with the rest of your lineup and you need a sub 6K tight end, like somebody was asking in the comments there, Laporta's there at 5,800, and none of these guys are getting ownership, man. The one and only guy that people seem to be playing is going to be David Montgomery, just because tight ends reign king on FanDuel, with it only being half-point PPR. But you're getting, like we talked about JJ for the main DraftKings slate, Amon-Ra, no one's playing Amon-Ra in that game. Nico Collins should be back, activated after IR, who was well ahead of schedule, by the way. He apparently was ready to go like 2, if not a week and a half ago. He was ready to play. No one's playing Nico. No one's playing Tank. No one's playing $7,700 CJ Stroud with his 2 guys back and healthy. There's a lot of appeal for that night game for my FanDuel players out there in the comments. No one's playing any of that game. I absolutely want pieces of it.
I will go play some of that game. I think I'm going to do exactly that. We are going to shoot through our favorite play, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end on the slate. Daniel Jones just scored 2-yard rush, international three-way, perhaps in Germany for Daniel Jones.
Hey, there we go. Let's go.
Bring it all back. All right, we'll go Nick, Ghost, David, quarterback. Just give me one quarterback.
Joshua.
Oh, okay. All right, Joshua.
Baker.
All right, Baker. Okay. I'll take Herbert for the first time in 3 years. Running back. Start it off. Go around the horn.
Give me James Conner.
Okay, like it.
Sombrero. Aaron Jones.
Yeah, there you go. Aaron Jones. I'm going JT. Wide receiver, you can give me 2 if you want. Doesn't matter.
Marv. And I'll go Debo.
All right. Marv.
Zone blitz. Debo's going to get a good work day against zone blitz. We're going Debo.
Okay. Ghost.
Give me the back and forth between Khalil Shakir and Josh Downs in that one.
Well, Jesus Christ. Guess I've got no one to say. Kendrick Bourne. No. Let's go with – no one said it. I'll go ahead and take Justin Jefferson. That's fine. Call me whatever you want to. And – I mean, I love Shakir. I love Downs, obviously. I'll stack up Herbert with Quentin Johnson. I like that he's in a good spot.
I like Quentin. Good call.
QJ. Tight end. Go for it.
Kincaid, Hunter Henry.
Auden, Kincaid. That's where it's at.
Okay, yeah, right. Auden Kincaid. I like that Fergie call a little bit too. I have him ranked 6.
I can only name 2. That would have been the third for sure.
Taysom Hill get in the box. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Probably. Yeah. If they get in the red zone. I don't know if they'll.
Yeah, if they're able to pass midfield, yeah, he will.
Does Spencer Rattler get in the game?
Probably not. I think they'd go to Jake Haener first, wouldn't they? I feel like
if it's a route, if it's 35-0 in the fourth, possibly.
Does Michael Thomas tweet hate tweets at Derek Carr?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Minus 500 those odds.
Minus 500. Good. Yeah, he's not coming back. Can't come back from that. All right, that's the show. 12:05, 55 minutes to go make lineups. Go stack the late game on FanDuel. What? Good luck to everyone not having to watch the Carolina Panthers and Giants game anymore. Hopefully we get some better football moving forward. Sorry, Germany again. Our condolences, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.